What's up, YouTube? So I'll be back. Someone yesterday asked why I use this slide hammer. Well, it's not my first time working on a car. Some of you may think that, but I actually do have tons of experience. So I went into the service procedures just to help educate, because I consider myself an educator as well. So they show you the axle shaft and how they prefer that you do the job here, which is press it all apart and replace all this crap. We just purchased a loaded axle assembly because I'm dealing with such worn out crap here. I don't know what I'm gonna need in here. And in this case, the ABS ring was worn out because the parking brake assembly was destroyed, and it just wasn't worth trying to salvage it, in my opinion. So they want you to remove the parking brake cable, which we did not do. Remove the 4 axle nuts, right? Remove the 4 axle nuts. Remove the parking brake assembly from backing plate. Ours was rusted out, so no sense in even doing this, and all this stuff was missing. Remove the 4 axle shaft bearing cage and lock washers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how about that, Mr. So-and-so? This is called a slide hammer, and this is this very similar tool that we were using. So, the axle shaft cup may stay in place in the axle shaft housing. Remove the cup carefully so you're not damaging the surface. So what happened is everything was so stuck, so when we finally got the axle to move, the bearing came with the axle and the race stayed inside. Do not reuse the oil seal, blah, 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 blah. You see how they want you to do all this? We weren't doing all this. We ordered an axle with all this stuff that was already replaced. This is a friggin' headache. And I'm gonna tell you, if the car doesn't have low mileage on it, forget this crap. Order an axle shaft with everything in place and be done with it. This is not the proper way to service a high mileage worn out POS. All right, so I hope that answers, and then they show you how to assemble it. Yeah, in the real world, you could do this, but guess what? The crap is so beat up when we see it because no one maintains it or abuses it. This method's out the window. If it had 30,000 miles on it, maybe 60, but forget it. After that, don't even bother. So anyway, back to this piece. Slide hammer this crap out, right? It should come right out. It shouldn't take an hour to get out. Well, it took us almost an hour to get this out. And then the race was seized inside the axle tube assembly. That metal does do this. It does distort and change. So, and I had to go in there with a torch and get the axle race out, because there's no provisions really to grab the race on how they machined the axle tube assembly. So I just took a torch and I heated it up, and then we bent the edges up, and then actually split it, and then it slid right out. So I heated the ring surface with a torch, right? Got it real hot and red, and then I used a screwdriver and pried up the edges so I had an area to grab it, and then I used the torch and just kept cutting it and kept cutting it and kept cutting it, and then finally worked it loose. But do you see the slide hammer tool there? Thanks for watching.